On today's show, I'm bringing you a brand new company that my team discovered about 2 or 3 months ago. And if you picked up this stock about a month ago, you would have made over 100% on your money. I'm talking about no other than Medicenna Therapeutics Corp. You can find them on the OTCQB, ticker symbol MDNAF. Also, if you're up there in Toronto, you can find them on the TSX, ticker symbol MDNA. And with us today, we're very lucky and fortunate to have the CEO and president, Dr. Fahar Merchant. Dr. Merchant, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate that.
Before we get into the Q&A, give my listeners, if you would, just a little bit of a backstory of who you guys are and what you do.
Yes, so Medicenna is very focused in the oncology space. We are developing a really exciting new kind of therapy around interleukins. These are sort of very special molecules that target tumors, and also in addition to that, they are able to stimulate your immune system so that they can attack tumors very, very selectively. So these are the assets that the company has in-licensed from the FDA as well as Stanford University, where they have developed these really exciting next-generation therapies that are very targeted, selective, and are able to modify your immune system so that the immune system is programmed, it's sort of driven so that it is able to then target the tumor very effectively. So that's what we are really focused on as a company. We've got a program that's just completed phase 2 clinical trials for recurrent glioblastoma. As you know, glioblastoma is a very aggressive, by far the most aggressive kind of brain cancer. This is something that affected, and we would have heard last year, Senator John McCain being an example of a person that received or had this kind of tumor. It's a very poor disease that has very few treatment options. Most patients that will get this tumor will have very short lifespan. So we are looking at those kind of indications, and we have a very exciting early stage pipeline as well.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I asked you to come on the show. Your phase 2B data for the MDNAA 55 showed a compelling data for its potential to treat glioblastoma. Tell us about what the data actually means in terms of survival for someone with the disease, and how does that compare to the current approved treatments that are already out there?
Right. So if you look at glioblastoma itself, the patients that we treated in this clinical trial were patients that had already had surgery, they already had radiation, and they had chemotherapy, and they essentially had failed all these 3 therapies, and the tumor basically comes back. At this point, if the patient, once the tumor comes back, this particular kind of glioblastoma is such that if you don't get treated, the patient would have a survival expectation of about 2 to 3 months at the most. In other cases, patients might get some treatments, and the therapies that are currently available will provide an option and extend the survival of these patients to perhaps 6 to 8 months post-treatment. What we've found with our drug, with MDNA55, is that for the first time we are able to show that a single treatment with MDNA55 in these patients extends survival of these patients to as much as 15 months. So this is increasing the survival, more than doubling the survival of these patients, which is something that has not happened in the past 2 decades. So it's a really important breakthrough. We feel that this is sort of a major advance, particularly in tumors that have a certain kind of biomarker we call the interleukin-4 receptor. These patients have an unusually more aggressive form of glioblastoma, and this is the patient population that does extremely well with our drug. So the data we reported in December, we have shown that the single administration with this drug is dramatically improving survival of these patients, having these patients have a better quality of life, and has a treatment without the side effects that you normally get with chemotherapy. So those all are the key check boxes that have got us to where we are today.
Currently, you guys are pre-revenue, and I say that to say this. What are the next steps for MDNA55? Could the FDA further expedite your path to market on this so we could start generating revenues? What would that mean for the partnering strategies that you may already have?
Yeah, so based on the data that we have seen so far, we feel that the story is very compelling. It's in a patient population. We have data now in 118 patients so far. The opportunity for us is from a multiple fronts. First of all, the drug has also already received what we call orphan drug designation, both from the FDA and the European regulators as well. The second thing is the drug has also been granted fast track designation. So these are the two different processes that would help us expedite the drug to enter the marketplace quicker than the normal process, that particularly in this end-stage disease. And we are planning to have a meeting with the FDA early this year, and the intent will be for us to seek guidance from the FDA as to how we can get this drug to the patients as soon as we possibly can. So our strategy is, of course, to meet with the FDA and see if there's a path forward that would expedite launching the drug into the marketplace. But as a company, we feel that this meeting with the FDA will set the stage for us to enter into a transaction with a pharma company that has the wherewithal for distribution, marketing, and sales globally. So that's what our plan is. As a company, we feel that
You have a time span for that?
Yeah, so we are looking at the second quarter this year. We are hoping that we'll have a positive meeting with the FDA, and on the back of that positive meeting, we should be able to be in a good position to attract a regional or a global partner into the program.
There's been a lot of interest in cancer space. Sanofi recently acquired Xanthorex, signaling that strong. What does that mean to you guys, and how does that affect you guys?
Well, that's a really good question, because really what was very critical, I think this was news in December, where Sanofi acquired Xanthorex for $2.5 billion. So remember, Xanthorex had just actually started a phase 1 clinical trial in Australia with their drug, which is a molecule called interleukin-2. They have a version of interleukin-2, which is a cytokine. It's sort of a molecule that stimulates your tumor cells, or rather your immune cells, to attack tumor cells. And that particular drug works really well when you combine IL-2 with a checkpoint inhibitor. Now, in the past, IL-2, this particular molecule, interleukin-2, has been approved. In fact, it was the very first immunotherapy approved in the sort of mid-early 1990s. But the problem has always been that this particular drug is very, very toxic. So the group at Xanthorex was able to generate a version of IL-2 which is safer. And what we have done at Medicenna is essentially taken the IL-2 and engineered it so that it's not only safer than the original IL-2, but it is even more potent than the original IL-2. We have this molecule now in preclinical studies. On the back of this $2.5 billion transaction by Sanofi, we feel that there is a lot of opportunity for us to partner with another big pharma, because remember, Xanthorex's technology is now taken over by Sanofi. And 2 years ago, Bristol Myers acquired another interleukin-2 molecule from a company called Nectar for a transaction of $3.6 billion. So we feel that we are the third, but by far have the best-in-class IL-2, and we look forward to having partnerships on our molecule with other companies that are developing checkpoint inhibitors for cancer.
Dr. Merchant, before I let you go, your market cap's at $77.7 million American dollars, $2.15. That being said, what is it that you want my listeners and your stockholders to take away from today's interview?
I would say that over the next coming months, this and next quarter, we'll have key news flow coming up on the back of data that we'll be generating not only on our IL-2 program, but more importantly, the outcome from our meeting with the FDA. So that is a key threshold that would trigger really a number of potential activities. Could be an acquisition, could be approval of the drug, could be a large partnership, not only with MDNA55, but potentially with our IL-2 program, MDNA19 as well. So multiple opportunities. This year looks very exciting for Medicenna. I think we've hit key milestones and additional major milestones coming up just around the corner.
Dr. Merchant, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. I'm a big fan of what you guys have been doing. Like I said, I've been following the company now for about 3 months. If you want to know more about their company, find them on the OTCQB. Their ticker symbol is MDNAF. If you're up there in Toronto, look them up on the TSX under the ticker symbol MDNA. I want to thank you for your time. Hopefully you'll come back on the show in 40 or 50 days and give us an update.
Absolutely. Love to do that. Thank you.
This program is entirely sponsored and produced by La Jolla Media LLC, which is responsible for the content. The opinions and information provided on this program are for educational and research purposes. Stockday encourages all listeners of this program to do their due diligence and research when determining investment strategies that will work for them, or to seek the assistance of an investment professional.